Come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming, or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing.
The year 2021 marks the 150th anniversary of the Toronto and York Region Labour Council. For a century and a half, working people have organized collectively around a vision of economic and social justice. It's been a remarkable journey, and the lessons from our past provide a guide for anyone working for a more just society today and tomorrow. We are in the dish with one spoon territory. Our story began on the land of Indigenous communities and has been forged with those who have come from around the world as immigrants or refugees to build Canada's largest urban centre. 150 years ago, a small group of trade unionists came together to give life to an idea: the creation of a collective voice for working people in Toronto. On April 12, 1871, the Toronto Trades Assembly was founded. Within a year, the fledgling labour movement would be tested. Printers at the Globe newspaper were jailed for going on strike for a 9-hour day. 10,000 people took to the streets demanding their freedom. The call for justice echoed throughout the country, and the first Trade Unions Act was won. Each new wave of immigrants discovered that in order to have a fair share of the prosperity they helped to create, they needed collective power, a united voice to fight for dignity and a living wage. From the very beginning, our unions adopted the principle that what we desire for ourselves, we wish for all.
There are women of many descriptions. In this weird world, as everyone knows, some are living in beautiful mansions and wearing the finest of clothes. There are blue-blooded queens and princesses who have charms made of diamonds and pearls. But the only pure-hearted lady is a rebel girl. You're the rebel girl, you're the rebel girl. To the working class, you're a precious girl. You bring courage, pride, joy. Standing beside the rebel boy, we have fought before, so stand some more, the industrial workers of the world. For it's great to fight for freedom with the rebel girl. Let's go and sing! You're the rebel girl, you're the rebel girl. To the working class, you're a precious girl. You bring courage, pride, joy. Standing beside the rebel boy, we have fought before, so stand some more, the industrial workers of the world. For it's great to fight for freedom with the rebel girl. Last time. For it's great to fight for freedom with the rebel girl.
In the early decades, the Labour Council built campaigns for better working conditions and vital public services. We were one of the first advocates for equal wages for women. There was also a sweeping program for public ownership of transit, electricity, and the fire brigade. The Labor Council lobbied for public health measures, unemployment relief, and education for all. Unions helped elect candidates to school boards and city council, and in 1919, a referendum was won to create the Toronto Transit Commission.
So take this hammer, carry it to the captain. Take this hammer, carry it to the captain. Take this hammer, carry it to the captain. You can tell him I'm gone. Oh, you can tell him I'm gone. Oh, you can tell him I'm gone. Please tell him I'm gone. Please tell him please tell him I am gone. You can tell him I am
During the Great Depression, social improvement was the constant focus of campaigns. But women's rights were still denied, while in every aspect of society, systemic racism and bigotry were deeply ingrained. After the Second World War, the Toronto Joint Labour Committee for Human Rights was formed. It led a relentless campaign against racist practices by employers, landlords, and businesses. Across the country, unions fought to turn workplace benefits like health plans and pensions into universal social programs. In 1956, Labor Council was a founding partner of the United Way.
Come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin, and there's no telling who that it's naming. For the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing.
The turbulent 60s and 70s saw the rise of health and safety activism and a women's movement for equality. Workers organized in new sectors, and solidarity was built across borders. The Labor Council expanded its role, building cooperative housing, training union members, and partnering in social services. There were political breakthroughs as well as setbacks. Free trade deals set the stage for massive job loss. The Ontario NDP was elected in 1990. But 5 years later, Conservatives unleashed a wholesale attack on workers' rights and public services. Unions mobilized, building alliances and a powerful resistance movement that featured a full general strike, the Metro Days of Action, in October 1996.
This is a trade union movement taking the initiative itself, making connections between other groups that are threatened by the Tories and what they're trying to do, and coming together as a popular movement. And that's the important about a trade union, to move just outside of the workplace into a broad, open movement like this. When I look at you people, I realise that there is still power in a union. There is power in a factory, power in the lands, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand. There is power in a union. Now I long for the morning that I realise brutality and unjust laws cannot defeat us. Who'll defend the workers who cannot organise when the bosses send their lackeys out to cheat us? Money speaks for money, the devil for his own. Who comes to speak for the skin and the bone? But a comfort to the widow, a light to the child. There is power in a union. Our rights, down with the black legs, the workers unite with our brothers and our sisters, together we will stand. There is power in a union. Solidarity forever. Thank you very much.
This is not a narrow labor rally. The signs you have here are about health care and education and social solidarity. We refuse to accept that when we live in a society in which corporations are making enormous profits, which corporate salaries and executive bonuses are growing to great heights, stock markets are breaking through new barriers, we refuse to accept that we can no longer afford good quality public services, good universal health care, good child care, good public education.
The 21st century continues to bring many challenges to working people. Governments have embraced austerity. Employers have imposed two-tier wages, and workers have endured tough strikes or lockouts. The new economy is expanding precarious work, and there is a vital need to challenge systemic racism in our society.
It's time to go to work. Put that work in. For Al Chaplin, it's for Tom Morello. It's for the wobblies and the workers, what's up, hello. Let's have a dialogue about private sector pirate laws. The right to work for less has got us in a fight for jobs. We sign a union card with pride because we're going haywire, this the Haymarket riot mob. Flipping burgers with a bachelor's degree, serve it to you on my master's, what's the matter to me? Call me a millennial, Facebook status, Instagram addict, PlayStation, Xbox having. You tell me get a job, okay, where's the job? You got some nerve, sir, some wherewithal. White the graffiti kids is trying to mark the spot. You don't think we'd rather have a pension and a parking spot? You don't understand, you must be in the dark a lot. I can't even get an interview at Target, dog. You the people, stand up. We the people, put your hands up. Unless you in handcuffs, I wanna see you amped up. We the people, keep them hands up. You the people, stand up. We the people, put your hands up. Unless you in handcuffs, I wanna see you amped up. We the people, keep them hands up.
The Labour Council works with community allies on many issues, from stopping privatization, to raising the minimum wage, to demanding good jobs for all. Unions have been deeply involved in struggles for public services and for an education system that gives every student what they need to succeed. To address the climate emergency, Labour is calling for a just transition to a low-carbon future.
Labor Council, we thank you for 150 years of service to the community.
Social Planning Toronto is stronger through our partnership with the Labor Council, working together on issues of equity, workers' rights, decent work, and good green jobs.
The Labour Council was there with us as we fought Doug Ford's undemocratic slashing of our city's wards, and we fought together.
It was Labour activists that sat at the table when Urban Alliance on Race Relations was born.
Hundreds of people are going to be hired as a result of community benefits, as a result of your leadership and your ability to stand with community.
We're going to keep fighting together for a better city for working people, because we can build power and win, and we're going to keep doing that.
Community, Labour. Happy birthday, Toronto York Region Labour Council.
Deep in the city, there is a town. This was a village, the streets you walk down. There is your backyard and your neighborhood friends. Sounds from the schoolyard, rise in the wind. Oh, it's a funny, yeah, how it all gets lost.
Thank you, my friend, for all you've done. There will be now a street in your name. Oh, I said, please let us show you the way. And let us sing today. Now is the time for all to be free.
Today, the Labour Council represents over 220,000 union members in every sector of the economy. Working people in Toronto and York Region have come a long way since 1871. The gains we have won through collective bargaining and political campaigns could hardly have been dreamed by those who started 150 years ago. Together, we did transform society and lift up the quality of life of all Canadians. But what about the world of work today? Will there be decent jobs with dignity and fair wages? Will children be able to breathe clean air and live in harmony with their neighbors? If we look to the legacy of those who came before us, their wisdom and their courage, we find the answers. Together, we can find collective voice and fight for a better world. And as we continue this journey together, we will build the power of people to win social, economic, climate, and racial justice for generations to come.